Hello, and welcome to another episode of Table for Us. Go ahead and pull up a seat to the table. Before we dive into today's episode, first and always, I want to give honor and glory to God because without Him, nothing that I do would be possible. I literally would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for God. So I always like to make sure that I give all praise and honor to Him before I do anything. Now, if you are someone who is interested in starting your own podcast, you've been thinking about it or maybe you haven't been thinking about it, but now you're watching this and now you're like, wait, I have a story I want to tell. Make sure you check out the links below. My podcast is hosted on Podbean and I use Descript to edit all of my podcasts. So I'll make sure I put that information below for you guys. And this mic that I'm using right now is actually a gift. I can get the information and make sure that I link that below as well. Or you can just use the mic that's on your phone, or you can get one of those little clip-on lapel mics. Those are on Amazon for, I believe the one I had, because I have a couple of them, they're like 20 something bucks. You can start with little to nothing. You don't have to have all the expensive stuff to get started. I actually use my iPhone, I think it's an iPhone 15 or 16, to record. Sometimes I use my computer. Sometimes I have a camera. So it just depends on what you have. Use what you have and get started. All right. So I'll make sure I link that information below. Okay. Let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. So today, what we're going to be talking about is addiction in the Black community. I grew up around a lot of people that I knew, whether it was in family or just people that was in my neighborhood that were addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol. And those are not the only addictions. There are other addictions out there, but we're going to talk about these two, drugs and alcohol, because those are the ones that have affected me personally or have affected my family in some shape, form, or fashion. So I was born in 1978, okay? And I grew up basically in the 80s. In the 80s, there was a huge crack epidemic, right? I I don't know the history behind how it all got started, but there's always been this talk that, the government flooded the streets basically, right, to control the population of Black people. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know. But all of a sudden, there was this huge crack epidemic where you just would see people cracked out, pipes everywhere. I would be outside playing in the backyard, or the back is what we called it. So the buildings that I grew up in, we had a gated fence area in the back where there's like a play structure and then there was a recreation room. And the floor that I lived on when I was younger, we lived on the second floor, which we could literally just hop over our balcony and I can get access to the playground area where the kids were at. And in that area, it was like a huge kind of like patio area, and then it was our balcony. It's hard to really describe. But in that area, amongst other things like diapers and stuff, there would be pipes that were used to smoke crack. There would be needles that were used, like empty needles that were used to shoot up heroin. And at the time, I would see those things not really knowing what the heck they were. As I got older, it was explained to me like, don't touch those things, basically. Don't, if you see them, don't touch them, don't pick them up. Because of course it's like, oh, what's this? I remember the needles and I believe the syringes or whatever, they still make them the same to this day where they have their orange or whatever at the end. So it's, oh, as a kid, you see this, it's like, oh, what's this or whatever. Or the crack, not the pipes or the long cylinder looking part that they would use to smoke up with or whatever would be all over the place. And growing up, honestly didn't know what was going on. Looking back is, whoa. So that's what that was. That's what that was used for or whatever. So everybody, not everybody, but just about all of the parents of my friends, like either their mom or their dad or uncle or cousin, somebody in the family was on drugs or had and alcohol addiction. I have both in my family. And it affected me to the point where there was some nights that my mom, I talked about this in a previous episode where my mother, she was only 15 when she had me. She turned 16 shortly after I was born, but she was a teen mom. And she didn't get the chance to really be a child and enjoy her teenage years, go to prom, just do teenager type things because she had me. And then, so she was 16 or 15 when she had me, then she turned 16. My mother then had twin girls, my sisters. I want to say, because we're 8 years apart, so that would have put her at what, 24? So she was 24 when she had, yeah, is my math right? Yes. We're going to say she was 24. If my math is not right, y'all can do the math. She was 24 when she had my sister. So now here we are, 24 years old with 3 children. And my dad wasn't around because my grandfather ran him off, threatened that he was going to end his life. So my dad, he was gone. He went to the military. First, he was in college, then he went to the military. So I didn't see my dad much growing up. My sister's dad, I'm not going to get into that because that's not my story to tell. But my mom and their dad ended up not being together after my sisters were born. And so when my mom found out that she was pregnant with twins, I remember her looking very sad and depressed. I didn't know what was going on. I was 8 years old, so I didn't really understand what was going on. But I remember my grandmother being around a lot to help. And I didn't hear the conversation verbatim, but I remember my grandmother basically telling my mom, I'll help you. You gonna keep them babies or whatever. And so my grandmother helped out a lot with my sisters. And then I too also helped out a lot. So I remember when there were times when my grandmother wasn't there, my mom started to act different. And I didn't understand what was going on. Come to find out, when I got older as a teenager, I knew exactly what was going on. She was high. And the things that it would make you do was so annoying because it's like I would be asleep in the middle of the night and my mom would come in there and she would be like crouching down or whatever. And I would see her nose kind of sweating and she'd be like, you okay? You good? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, why are you waking me up out of my sleep? And I would have school like that next morning. So it affected me in a way that I would be tired at school because she been and kept me up because she was going through whatever she was going through from being high. And then there was times where she'd be out at night and she wouldn't come home. So it's time for me to go to school, but I couldn't go because I couldn't leave my sisters there by themselves. So there, and this now at this point, was I fifth grade? No, that didn't start happening until I was in junior high, where she just wouldn't come home some nights, and then I would miss school, or I would be late to school because here she come finally stumbling in the house around 9 a.m. So I've been to miss the first period or the second period or whatever of school because she wasn't home. So it started to affect my grades to the point where I reached out to my grandma and I said, can I come live with you? I can't take it here anymore. I'm tired of having to raise her children while she just out living her best life. I didn't say her best life, but I was tired. And my grandmother was like, yes, you can come stay with me. My mom was livid. She did not want me to leave because to her, she's losing her babysitter, right? It wasn't about not wanting her daughter to leave because she was going to miss her daughter. It was just because she didn't want to lose her babysitter. And then she wouldn't be able to be out all night doing whatever it is she wanted to do. So growing up, drugs affected my life a lot. And you would think growing up with that I would turn to drugs. Now, the most I've ever done, and I don't judge nobody because to each his own, the most I've ever done was smoke weed and drink. And even with smoking weed, it was just like, okay, I'm good with this. I don't need nothing more. I feel, and they would always say weed is the gateway drug to all of the other drugs. And I'm like, it can be. But I also feel like it depends on what it is you're going through. For me, weed wasn't an escape from anything. Weed was, I just want to calm my mind and just be chill and mellow and relax. And I just want to feel good, whatever. I'm not trying to escape anything. Most people who have some type of addiction, and I said most, I didn't say all, are trying to escape something. Whatever that may be, I don't know. There is a root cause to addiction. People don't just get addicted for no, like some people, well, let me take that back. Some people have gotten addicted to certain things because someone introduced it to them, but they stayed in it longer for other reasons, whatever that was, depression, abuse, something that was going on in their family life where they just felt like, okay, I don't want to deal with this. I want to escape. And the only way to escape from reality was to be high or to be drunk, right? Instead of saying, you know what, I need to deal with whatever it is that's going on in my life. I need to basically figure out how to be better without relying on these drugs. Now, some people can't have that mindset. So I want to touch on different areas of addiction. So that was the one thing of addiction with me growing up with my mom. So my mom, she had so many things that she dealt with in her life that I did not know about until later on that affected her to whereas somebody gave her some drugs and she liked how it made her feel and she didn't have to deal with her stuff that was going on. Then more stuff started happening. So she just went deeper into her addiction to escape all of those things that were going on. So again, there was a root cause. Like somebody just handed something to her. Now I don't know what had happened that made her say, you know what, yes, I'm going to go ahead and try this. But she had stuff that happened to her that made her just want to escape everything. Then you have people who are grieving. So I remember when I was, let me see, I believe I was 16, 15 or 16 when my grandmother passed away. My grandmother passed away from cancer. She had breast cancer. She was diagnosed at 52. I'm scared. She was diagnosed at 36. She passed away at 52 because she went into remission. She had the single mastectomy. It came back, and then the cancer basically took over, and she passed away. Now, my mom at the time now has 4 children because she had my brother. She was married at the time, but what had happened was the loss of her losing her mom, it took a toll on her. My mom was my grandmother's caretaker. My mom is one of 3, and she's the only girl and the youngest of her siblings. But she took care of my grandmother until she passed away. So honestly, I don't know, me personally, if I could have done that or if I was able to do it, what it would have done to me mentally, emotionally, to make me feel, I just don't know. Okay. But I know that it caused my mom to go into a depression to whereas she started to go deeper into her addiction of drugs and alcohol. And to this day, I feel like she has some guilt basically for whatever reason. My grandmother passed away a few days after my mom's birthday. My mom was out celebrating her birthday as you should be able to get a day off, be able to go and enjoy your birthday. When we got my grandmother to the hospital, they basically said that because my grandmother was at the point where she couldn't speak anymore, so she couldn't tell us what was going on with her, but they had to give my grandmother so much morphine. They said they gave her enough morphine that could have killed a horse. That's how much pain she was dealing with silently because she couldn't tell us. And I think my mom blamed herself because of that. But me being an adult now looking back, I'm just like, how could you have known that? My mom went to nursing school and so forth, and she was doing everything. I would see my mom making sure my grandmother ate, making sure she was dry and changed her bed padding. Like she did everything as a caretaker. But she decided to go out to enjoy her birthday. My grandmother passed away literally 5 days after my mom's birthday. So to this day, my mom doesn't like to celebrate her birthday. But that was something that triggered her inside because she just felt guilty about not being there and not taking care of her mom instead of going out. But there was other things that had happened, again, like I said, in her life that caused her to even start on this journey. So I know that there's different situations for everybody who's dealing with addiction, who's dealing with whatever addiction they're dealing with, whether it's drugs, alcohol, even gambling, right? I don't know anybody who has a gambling addiction personally, but I know that's a big thing where people get so consumed with winning that they just keep on playing, thinking, okay, I'm gonna win that back. I'm gonna win that back. I'm gonna make that back. Oh, I lost that, but I'm gonna get that back. So they keep playing and keep playing. They just keep losing until they have pawned everything that they can. And then they're left with no lights on, no food and all that stuff because keep trying to win and not knowing when to walk away. So there's I have a cousin and I'm gonna call her out because I know she's gonna be watching this. She's addicted to Pepsi. Pepsi sodas is her addiction. Now she's doing so much better because she does not have a Pepsi every day. She was to the point where she would drink 3 or 4 Pepsis a day. Like she had to have her Pepsis. But now I believe she's down to either 1 Pepsi a day or every other day or something. She has weaned herself off of it. I do not know why she was addicted to Pepsi. That was just her thing. Then you have people who are addicted to eating. They overeat. It's comfort. It makes them feel better. When my grandmother passed away, I went from I think I was like a size 14. I was in high school. I was a size 14. I went up to a size 22 because it was the only thing that made me feel better was eating. I would have cupcakes and Twinkies and all type of stuff hidden in different places in my room. And I would just, as soon as I feel sad, I'm like stuffing my face with whatever that comforted me. And it's the same thing with drugs and alcohol. If this comforts me and this numbs me or this makes me feel better, so I don't have to deal with being sad, so I don't have to deal with being lonely, so I don't have to deal with the fact that this abuse, whatever it was, that's what people turn to. Now, people who don't understand addictions, right? On the outside, they will be looking in and they'll say, I don't understand why they can't do this, why they just can't stop, why they just can't. I was one of those people with my mom. I was just like, why can't she just go to a program and stay clean for us, for me and my sibling? But it has to be something that they want to do for themselves. It can't be something that they're doing for other people. Because I feel like when you're doing it for other reasons, you don't stick with it. My mom went to, I want to say maybe 3 different programs, maybe more than that. Right now I can only remember 3 drug treatment programs that she went to. But it was a stipulation. It was like, you either go to jail, you either go to this program or you're going to jail. She got an ultimatum basically. And they were like, my mom was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go to this program. And she would get better, she would be healthy. Her personality was different. Like she was just the mom that I had been wanting to see again. Now, I knew a part of my mom before drugs, whereas my siblings, all they know is the after the drugs and the alcohol and so forth. So they don't know that other version. So when she would go to the program, it was like, that's the mom that I remember before the drugs. I would be so excited. And she would come home and she would do the in treatment program. She did an in treatment program, and I remember the patient program. And she get around the wrong people. That's the other thing. When you surround yourself with other people who doing something that you're trying to get away from, it's gonna be hard for you to be able to do that. So if you have, let's say, an eating disorder where you just overeat because it make you feel better and you are around somebody who is an overeater or they're enabling you, they're going to go buy all the stuff for you, right? Same with drugs or alcohol, they're going to buy the stuff for you. You got to get away from those people. Dumb is the people you don't want to be around, right? You have to understand the people who are understand that the people around you sometimes could hurt you and keep you in that addiction longer than you should be in that addiction. I had an uncle who was an alcoholic. Actually, he's my great uncle, excuse me, my great uncle. So he's my mom's uncle. And he drank so much, he drank himself to death, literally. His like the white part of his eyes were so yellow. I believe they call it cirrhosis of the liver or something like that. His liver was completely damaged from all the alcohol. And he passed away. He died from drinking too much. And it was crazy because I remember him coming around. He's such a handsome man. He had this nice, soft, wavy hair. He was my Uncle Jim. He was just so cool. He drank so much, you could smell the alcohol. I mean, he probably hadn't even had a drink that yet, but he would drink so much, it was in his pores. Like it would pour out. You would just smell the liquor. Like I was so young then, but I think his drink of choice was gin or something. I remember seeing him having a gin bottle here and there, but I don't know what caused him to start drinking, or once you start drinking, here's the thing with alcohol. Once you start drinking, or any drug rather, right? You can't not cold turkey just stop, because it sends your body into some type of a shock. You have to be weaned off of it, right? Whatever that drug is, like for heroin, for instance. If you just stop, you're going to die. So you have to keep using in order to stay alive. It's crazy. It's like a catch-22, right? Okay, I'm trying to stop, but if I stop, I'm gonna die. So I got to keep using it, and I'm just keep using it. So there are programs and stuff that are out there that will help you with your addiction, whatever that addiction is. There are, of course, everybody know about AA meetings and the Drug Anonymous meetings and all of these meetings and Gambling Anonymous and all that stuff like that, where you can go and you can go to a support group and y'all could talk with other people around you who are also battling whatever addiction that you have, and they're doing the steps to get off of it. But what I have, because I'm not anybody who was ever addicted, so just from speaking to other people, it is a lifelong process. You don't go and then now you're clean and now you're good. No, you have to continue to do those steps. You have to continue to work for the rest of your life to stay clean. And I remember, I think it was a movie or something I was watching, and it's like they put you on this 12-step program or something like that. And when it comes to staying sober, and then you get these chips at every milestone of staying sober, like a month, 60 days, 90 days, a year, 5 years, or whatever. And then when you fall off the wagon, you go back to drinking or doing drugs, you start all over again. But the step that I feel like people miss is that once they are clean, they stop going to the meeting. They stop talking to their sponsor, whomever that is. And normally it's someone who's been clean for years. So it's someone who basically can relate to you. So they're your person you're supposed to call and talk to when you feel like using or drinking or something like that. And like, at least for my mom, rather, I could say, I'm going to speak from just looking at her and what she was going through, is when she would come home, I don't remember her going to too many meetings, and or they would I think she would be assigned like a counselor or something. And she didn't stay consistent with that. And I feel like had she stayed consistent, then she could have stayed clean. So if you're watching this and you yourself have some type of addiction, somebody who has some type of addiction, then tell them they have to work the process. They can't stop cold turkey. They have to wean themselves. You know what my addiction was? Candy. I have an addiction, y'all. And I'm like, I feel like I'm Oprah. My weight goes up and down. 1 minute I'm down here looking good, snack, and I'd be like, oh, I can have one piece of candy. That one piece of candy turns into another piece of candy. Before I know it, it's like the weight is coming back. Like right now, I had lost how much? I went from 260 pounds to 225 last year. I don't know what I'm at right now, but I know I didn't gain my weight back. And I'm just disgusted every time I look in the mirror. But I tell myself, and what happened is I stopped cold turkey. But you can't cold turkey anything, because as soon as you get a taste of it again, whatever that is, then you go full force. And your body is like, ooh, I missed this. Give me some more, give me some more. That's how I felt with me with the sugar. I feel like it's a similar thing with whatever addiction that you have. So you want to wean yourself off slowly in steps, and then talk with somebody who has been where you're trying to get. I can't stress how important it is to talk with somebody who has been where you're at right now, and is in a place now of where you're trying to get away from them people who not trying to change. Get away from them people who trying to keep you like, "Oh, don't, why are you going to that meeting? Don't go to that meeting. Hang out here with me." Dumb people you need to get away from. That's the enemy. That's the devil. He is trying to keep you down. He is trying to kill, steal, and destroy you. Okay? Stay away from them type of people. Pray for them people, and you go get your help that you need to get. You don't need to be around people who's trying to keep you addicted to whatever it is you're addicted to. They will keep you there if you let them keep you there. Okay? Keep pushing forward and become a testimony for somebody else that they can get out of that addiction as well. Whatever it may be, whether it's Pepsi, it's drugs, it's alcohol, it's gambling, it's sex. There's even people that's addicted to sex. there's different addictions out there, but you have to wing yourself and go through a process, or you will revert back to what you were trying to get away from. Okay. So I just wanted to basically talk about that, and then also get counseling. I can't stress counseling enough. Counseling has been a huge factor with my life in making sure that I'm looking at myself, like, right back at myself. I don't like what I see. So let me make the small steps to do better. Let me eat less candy, not just stop eating candy. Let me go take that walk. Matter of fact, I haven't been to my step class in almost a month. So I need to get back into my routine in my step class. I've been so busy. And I know life happens, right? But get back to it. As soon as you realize it's been a minute, get back on it. Make sure that you get back into your routine of doing whatever you need to do to stay clean, to stay healthy, whatever that may be. But also making sure that you have that counseling, because what is causing you to be in that addiction? Hi, so my name is Nicolette Royal, or Nicole Johnson for legal purposes. Royal is my father's last name, but my mom gave me my dad's last name, but I use it now with my businesses, and I am the owner of Royal Legacy Services. Royal Legacy Services is a tax prep and tax advisory credit repair business. I started this business, I started doing taxes maybe about 20 years ago, and I treated it as a hobby. It was always a side gig for me. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I decided to go full in with my business when I got laid off. So I provide tax services for personal taxes. I provide tax services for small businesses. I provide tax advice. So with the tax advice, I typically try to give people tips and advice on what they need to do in the year before tax season. So different things and strategies that you can implement now will help you with tax savings, tax deductions, and credits and so forth when tax season comes around. I added credit repair about 3 years ago as a service to my tax business. And the reason being was because I had so many tax clients that I would hear when I would have a consultation with them. They would say, as soon as I get my money, I'm going to pay this off, or I'm going to do this so that I can fix my credit. So I felt like it was an opportunity to add credit repair services so that I could help them with their taxes and their credit. One of the things that really helped me in my business is I was my first client. So I started doing my own taxes myself. And then that turned into me doing taxes for family members and then friends. And pretty much everybody that I have currently literally is a referral. I might have a few people that found me on like Yelp or Facebook or something like that. But majority of my clients that I have, they were referred to me by somebody else. The same with credit repair. I actually went to an actual credit repair company before I was about to buy my house. And they got a couple of things off, but they didn't educate me on the importance of how to build my credit back up. They didn't educate me on the different consumer laws or anything of that sort. They just was like, pay me this money and we're going to do this. Well, pay this money to enroll. And I believe they had like a paper delete type of thing. So I decided to do credit repair differently. I probably overshare with my clients. I probably whelm them with things, but I want them to know everything that I know so that they can make sure that they don't get back into the same predicament that they're in when they come to me, right? So I make sure that they know about what makes up their credit score. I make sure that they know that in addition to me getting negative items removed, that they also need to now establish new credit. So I have a list of credit building accounts that I refer them to, and I walk them through the entire process. I also have an ebook that I typically tell new clients, potential clients, right? I tell them, hey, here's an ebook. If you want to work on your credit yourself, you can. And here's the steps on how to do that. So I'll share the link with my Stan store where you can actually purchase my ebook. You'll also have a link on how you can reach me
you will, what else am I going to share? So my number is 702-969-3605. That is my business number. That is how you can reach me, or you can go to Royal Legacy Services, so svcs.com, and you can go ahead and schedule a consultation with me, and I will look at everything that you have going on, whether it's your taxes. I do back taxes. I try to stay away from amendments. If I didn't file your taxes, I typically don't like redoing somebody else's stuff, but I can look at it and look it over and see if it's something that I can help you with. The tax advice, I typically, if you have a business, I love people who have small businesses because there is so much that you are able to claim as a deduction under your business. So those are all the things that I will walk you through and talk you through when you have a consultation with me. So Nicole Johnson or Nicole Royal with Royal Legacy Services.
Figure out what that not problem, but the cause, I don't want to call it a problem, what caused that in the first place, and deal with that. That's the only way you're going to stay on the right path, is dealing with whatever is causing you to run to that addiction. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you subscribe, you share this with someone else. And again, if you're someone who's interested in starting your own podcast, make sure you check out the links below. My podcast is hosted on Podbean, and I use Descript to edit my podcast. So you guys stay blessed and have a blessed week. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. That we are one.